LinkedIn presents.
This is the Forbes Books Podcast, conversations with incredible humans who are making a difference in the world of business and beyond. Hola, I'm Joe Pardavila, and today's guest epitomizes fortitude, tenacity, and the strength of self-belief. Her name is Kim Gravel. Her path has been nothing short of extraordinary. As a media personality, QVC star, and entrepreneur, she has won millions of fans over with her upbeat demeanor and dedication to her work. Kim's demonstrated that one can reach their wildest aspirations with dedication and unwavering commitment as the creator of her own fashion and cosmetics brand. She bears her soul in the new book, Collecting Confidence, where she details the struggles she's faced and overcome throughout her career. Kim, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome, Kim. And so I want to start with the title of your book before we get into your journey, because Collecting Confidence, I feel like confidence is one of those double-edged swords where too much confidence, not so good. Low confidence, not so good either. It's hard to find that happy medium, thread that needle. Has that been a struggle for you, trying to thread the needle of not being too confident or being underconfident?
I tell you what the struggle has been, and that's a great question. The struggle has been to know what true confidence really is, because what it looks like, to some people and like on social media and how we think confidence should look like is very different than what real confidence is, in my opinion. And in my experience, I think what has happened is that we have this false sense of what a truly confident person presents as. And to me, true confidence comes from within and knowing who you are and why you're put on this planet to do what you're supposed to be doing. And when you have those two knowings in your soul and in your gut and in your being, you can walk in confidence in any situation, at any walk of life, at any level of success, and it be true and real and authentic. I think a lot of confidence that we're seeing out there is being cocky a little bit. Maybe that's a little bit of a mask we wear.
Yeah.
So
how do we protect ourselves from that fine line between cocky and confident? Because like you said, it's easy to portray cockiness, especially with social media, because we're only showing our best selves. So how do we keep ourselves in check to be like, okay, wait a minute, am I just being full of myself right now? What kind of advice do you give for people who like worry about that?
Well, I think what's happening is we're in a crisis of confidence, all over the world, but especially in this nation, where that comparison that we're always doing, that looking outside of ourselves. And so I say, you got to be a little selfish. And that's kind of you're like, what? But you kind of got to be a little selfish with your life, because a lot of times, I know, especially as a woman, and I'm sure all of us do this, we're always taking care of or looking outside of or seeking something outside of ourselves. And look, I'm not trying to get spiritual guru on you right here, but I'm just telling you, in my business, in my parenting, in my life of my 51 short years, because I really think that's really young today.
Yeah.
I'm getting younger and better, I keep saying. But in these experiences in my life, I have learned the more that I take care of myself and really be about my own business and keep my nose out of everybody else's business and quit comparing myself to everybody and trying to be something that I'm not, the more authentically confident I get and the more successful I've gotten. I can't tell you, when I flipped the switch from trying to please or trying to impress and started really just taking care of myself and really walking in what I'm supposed to be doing, the success came like a windfall. It was like I flipped a switch from just mediocre to uber successful overnight. It was really almost magical, I would say, because I believe I don't believe I know this because I've had the experience. Look, I'm not a counselor or a psychologist, but you can't tell me what I haven't lived in my life experience. And I've lived it. And I know to be truly, fully confident is really being a little bit selfish and just being about what you're supposed to be doing on this earth. You will help people and be kind. And we have to go through all of our, daily, we're parents, we're homeowners, we're business owners. We have to go through our daily life experiences. But to walk in it fully, authentically confident, there's nothing, it's a high like none other.
Wow. And speaking of experience, boy, you have lived a Forrest Gump life existence.
I feel that way.
Just the number of things you've done, from starting as a beauty pageant winner and then starting businesses and being on TV and radio. How do you define who Kim Gravel is? Because you're one of those people that you do so much, but and please don't give me that mother first wife.
No, I won't. We're the same, honey. I can tell it. You and I are like brother and sister, cut from the same cloth. Yeah, I'm not giving you that answer.
Thank you. Like if you ran into someone when you're doing this book tour and people are coming across you for the first time, who do you say Kim Gravel is?
Okay. So, and this is in the book, and we dig a little deep into this because this is not a self-help book. It's almost like a self-appreciation book. So if you want to just have a few little nuggets to really apply to your life or really reflect on your own life, get this book. But I say this, you've got to figure out why you're here. That's our big, big question. I travel all over the country and I speak to women. Of course, I'm on live TV every week speaking to an audience. And I say to an audience, I say, look, how many of you believe we have a calling, a purpose? Everybody's hand goes up. I say, okay, put your hand down. How many of you know what yours is? And it's crickets. I mean, you could hear a pin drop. It's dead silence and no one lifts a finger. And I think it's so important that we figure out why we're here. Now, the reason I've been able to be successful and be confident and navigate those ups and downs is because I know why I'm here. I'm here to edify. That's it. Edification, to build up. So if it's building businesses, if it's building people, if it's building, in my parenting, I know who I am and why I'm here. So everything stems out for that. Now you said, don't say I'm a mom first. I'm all of that. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, I'm a business owner, I'm a friend. I love to party. I love to laugh. I cry. I get depressed. I get down. I get up. I mean, I'm all of those things, but it's not who I am. It's just what I'm doing.
And I don't mean to poo-poo people who say,
no, I don't mean that either.
But the thing is, I feel like sometimes people don't know their who and their why. And so it's the easiest thing to do is like, hey, listen, 24 hours a day, I'm a father, I'm a mother, I'm a brother or sister. Yeah, I get it. But like, it's not really the essence of who you are. And when you got to that level of being the builder and you talk about your experiences, was there an aha moment when you realized, oh, this is who I am. This is what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, the crazy thing about it is I'm thick-skulled, I'm thick-headed. So there's been so many aha moments. It's like, how many times have I got to show you who you are? I mean, yes, I'm still having those aha moments. And that's also peppered throughout the book. It's my life stories of how I've discovered this calling on my life. I'm an edifier, this building up, and that's who I really am. And so I'm hard-headed. So it's taken me years and years and experience. But now it's gotten so great where I no longer have to take 5 days, 5 years, 3 months to figure out what should I be doing. Now it's instant. I go, okay, does this build up? If it doesn't, I'm not doing it. Is this a fight I need to be fighting? If it's not aligned with my calling and my purpose, I'm going to let that go. You know what I'm saying? We get so caught up in the distractions of our lives. And that's the big thing. That's what everything I say, that the world is a confidence sucker. It tries to suck your confidence out at every turn. And it is. But when you figure out why you're here and you figure out some of the tools in this book, how to navigate those obstacles, those hurdles, those rough patches, and even the glorious moments, because I believe success is made through the failures, not through the wins. When you figure out how to navigate that quickly, efficiently, and effectively, the success you will have in your life and what success means to you comes at you like a wave. It just comes naturally. You don't even have to look for it, search for it, or hustle for it. It just happens when you stand in who you are and in confidence.
That's great.
It's true.
It's funny. You got so much things you just unpack there that I want to get into, because the one thing that I notice about people is like, a lot of the self-help people is like live in the now and live in the moment. And I feel like sometimes people live like that to the detriment of themselves, because if you live in the now, when you're angry, you will act on that anger. I always tell people, use the email method. If someone sends you an email and you want to send them a nasty reply, wait 24 hours because in 24 hours, you may not feel. So the
Right.
living in the now thing is great when it comes to positivity. But sometimes people are like, I'm living in now. I'm cutting loose. I'm going to be myself 24/7. But if you don't give other people grace or give yourself a break and be like, hey, let me wait to respond. Because there's so many times, Kim, and I'm sure you've done this yourself, where you really want to complain about something and you want to just spill your guts out in an email or a text or even a phone call.
Yes.
But then like a week goes by where you decide not to do anything on it and you forget what you were angry about.
Right.
Which is a great thing about being humans. Like we forget shit all the time.
Right.
So when you talked about failures and you talk about the hills you had to climb, what were some of the steps that you took to make yourself a better human so that the climb wasn't so rough?
The thing about hurdles, and I say this in the book, and I've said this, my daddy used to always tell me this. You know, I come from farmers and preachers. So my whole foundation is in the dirt in the church. So I have been preached to my whole entire life. And my dad always has these little phrases. And he used to say to me when I was young, baby, your mess is your message. So we try all the time to avoid pain, to avoid failure, to avoid, hurts. And I was taught at a very young age that all that messiness of life is what is used to propel you into your future. So when you live in the now and you have these kind of, I agree with that to a certain extent. You've got to be present. A lot of times we're in the past or we're in the future, but you've got to be in the present, but still planning. You've got to be in the present and still purposeful. You've got to have a plan. And people say, I was on Steve Harvey one time. It was a panel of people. I think I was the oldest one on the panel other than Steve. And he asked us a question about planning. And if we have should we have plans in our life? And some people are like, well, I just take it as it comes. I said, heck yeah. You got to have a plan in your life. And then you got to be flexible. You got to work the plan. And then you got to pivot when it doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? But without being able to look at the future and know what you want and have a plan on how to get there. But when you're in that present, things change. And so it's always being forward thinking and present minded. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think it's one of the things where I think we get on this whole belief that we have a one-track mind. And I think Bill Maher says it all the time. We could think two things at the same time. Like we're that evolved that we can do that. So you're right. Living in the present, but also having a plan is a great way to live because we're all humans in general are pretty amazing. Like we could do a lot of things, the old walking and chewing gum at the same time. Like we can all do that. So we could do two things. So, and speaking of doing things, I always say that people that go on home shopping networks or QVCs are some of the most talented people I've ever seen in my life.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, oh, good. I would hope so, Kim. But
I
I believe that these people that go up there, like yourself, who can spout for an hour about a turtleneck are so incredible that they can do that in 60 minutes and kill time and talk about one thing. Talk to me about how you did that, because I know you did a lot of media stuff before you jumped onto QVC to sell your product line, but how did you prepare yourself to be so open and live and doing that? Because that's one thing people aren't used to doing anymore. I mean, doing something live and without a net and being able to talk about one particular thing for an extended amount of time, that takes a gift. Did you have that gift from the jump, or did that take a lot of time and practice?
Lord, no, I didn't have that gift. I still don't have that gift. Look, the only gift I've got is just being me. So the beautiful thing about live television, and you know this, or radio, or anything where you're putting even if you're speaking at your PTA meeting or giving a presentation at work, people accept what is authentic. Okay? People think your audience or the consumer or people out here are dumb. They're not. The audience that you are speaking to, that we're speaking to right now, is very highly acute and intelligent. And the mistake that we make as performers, as business owners, as people who are out front, we think that we know more than they do, and we don't. Because an audience can read a fake a mile away. And some people are so good at faking it, who they are, that they get away with it for a little bit. But you are found out. And so for me, I'm not talented. I'm not all that special. I'm not all that great. I'm not that funny. I'm not that cute. And I'm not that thin. But what I am is authentic. And so when I'm on QVC or I'm on a TV show or a program, I'm just going to be me. And some people are going to not like it. And that's okay, because I love them anyway. And some people are going to connect and love it because I'm being authentic. The true test of someone that is good at what they do is not how proficient they are, but how real they are and how authentic they are. And that's why we're successful on QVC. That's why we sell what we sell. That's why we've built these brands. It's not because I'm talented and special and different. We're all the same in different ways. I just am really comfortable at being who I am.
So we should step back and get to the reason how you ended up in QVC, and that's you became an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I did.
And so since this podcast is geared towards entrepreneurs, talk to me about your entrepreneurial journey. Like, what prepared you for that? Like, what was so I always talk about the entrepreneur's conundrum: find a problem, fix a problem. So what were you trying to do? What was the problem you found or something you were trying to fix that then you created and then turned into a product?
So look, I'm not on here trying to bash myself the whole time, but I'm not that smart either when it comes to entrepreneurship. So I mean, basically, I have none of the skills to do anything that I'm doing. So Let me just go ahead and preface by saying that. What my mother is the one who encouraged me to do these businesses. I have some experience in the beauty business. It was very local, very small, very homegrown. But one day I was sitting at my table, my mom's kitchen table, and she threw a pair of jeans at me and said, "Look, I want you to make these jeans." I'm like, "What? I'm not a seamstress." I'm like, "What do you mean make jeans? I'm not to make jeans." Yeah. And she just said, "I just want you to do it. I want you to make them so they don't bag out and wear." And I thought, well, my mom's always telling me what to do. She's a type A. So I said, I was not doing anything else. It was kind of a stay-at-home mom at that moment. And so I took on the task. And about a year and a half later, I had these jeans. And then I said, well, I just think I'll go on QVC. I had no idea what I was doing. My point is saying this. Entrepreneurship looks so many different ways. One of my business partners, that she's been an entrepreneur since she was selling bubble gum on the bus, when she was, 6, 7 years old. So it looks a lot of different ways. But everybody has an entrepreneur spirit in them. Because I believe everyone wants to create and add value. So it looks many different ways to many different people. But for me personally, it was just a small thing I bumped into. And then I took one step and then one step, and everything just started unfolding. I think there's never been a business plan. The only thing I have is a mission statement. That's it. I've never had a business plan. I've never had any. I've done it out of the basement of my house. I've never had any investors. Everything has just unfolded with hard work and being authentic. And I think the worst thing we can do is have a vision, but paint it in a very, very specific way. You've got to be almost an abstract artist when it comes to creating your vision. You've got, or at least a watercolor. Have the vision and then let it unfold and look like it's going to look like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never thought I would be doing what I'm doing now. I wanted a talk show. I wanted to be on daytime TV, talking to a bunch of women, sipping some coffee and talking about, my bra size and, how big my butt was and how we can lose weight. That's what I wanted to do. It doesn't look like that now, but that's basically what I'm doing.
And when you were creating this brand and thought about, hey, I'll sell this QVC. The term value proposition gets thrown around, but I'm sure you probably weren't using those terms early on. Why did you think what you were making had value?
Because it made my butt look good when I put them on. And I focus group. That's it. I loved it. When I put those jeans on, I look 2 sizes smaller. And I don't know about this. I don't care what size you are as a woman. Smaller is always better in our minds.
Right.
Now we're really breaking out of that stereotype now, but still, smaller is still better in my mind. So I was a tight 12 and a loose 14, but looked like a 10. I was like, wow. Oh, this is going to be good.
That's awesome.
And that's another thing I tell entrepreneurs. If you don't like it, nobody else is going to. If you don't like you, nobody else is going to like you. It's really kind of simple kindergarten stuff.
Yeah.
But truth is truth.
And it sounds like partnerships are very important to you because, like you said, you brought the creative side to it. You brought the mission statement. But at the end of the day, Kim, you need a business person right there with you as well.
You need a team. Yeah. You need a team.
So tell me how you put that team together of folks who made your line and all your businesses a reality, because it sounds like you're the visionary, but you need people, the boots on the ground to get the job done. How did you put that all together?
Well, I really sought out people who were very, very gifted and talented in what they do. And that's the thing about truly being confident. If you are secure and love and walk in what you're made to do and what your talents and giftings are, it's so much easier to find that in other people. So I have got a group of people, there's 20 of us, and every single person I have purposely hired, loved, nurtured, and encouraged them to walk in what they are called to do. Like my business partner, very best friend of 20 plus years, she is a person who brings order. So she is our COO. So she is doing all the Excel spreadsheets. Oh my God. I don't even know how she reads them. It gives me hives to even look at them. And then I have Tracy, who is the business minded. I have my husband who runs our finances. Everybody, you can't hold everything so close to the chest. Success is to be given and shared collectively. It's not something that is me, myself, and mine. It has to be bigger than you for it to be successful. Everything is bigger than you. And if it's not, then you're not on the right success path, in my opinion. So for us, we were a tight team of 20. That's not a lot of people, because we sell almost $300 million annually in retail sales.
Wow.
That's a lot of sales for 20 people.
Sure is.
But everybody is so good at what they do. So it's not even work. It just, and we have our hiccups. Look, we've been sued. I've been, I could go on. We do a whole podcast of what the pitfalls of success. But with that team, we truly are a little army. We can really work together for the same mission, which is for every woman to believe in her own beauty. So everything goes back to that purpose. Everything.
That's awesome. Connecting this to confidence a little bit, because you talk about you hire folks that are experts in their field.
Absolutely.
You hire someone who knows how to use Excel spreadsheet. I still don't know how
I don't either, dude.
It's really confusing to me. I try not to use them if I can. But how does your confidence connect to that? Because at a certain point, you've got to be like, okay, they know better. But then at other times, you'd be like, no. I think I have the right call here. Talk to me about that delicate balance of dealing with your team members that are subject matter experts, but at the end of the day, it's your call. It's your name on the product. When do you let your confidence creep in a little and be like, hey, you know what? I know you guys probably went to school for this. You probably got some hang of it all, but I feel like I know this decision should be made like this. How do you deal with those situations?
Well, and the buck stops with me. And when the buck stops with you, if you're going to have to take full responsibility for a failure or success, then you've got to be comfortable doing it. We had a situation where everything looked so good on paper, and it was a big, big PO that was being offered to us, a big buy. And everything in my gut was saying, this is not going to work. And let me tell you, if you're in business, and I'm sure so many entrepreneurs are listening to this and follow you, but you have to make your customer, your consumer, I call her my friend, my girl, the boss. I'm not the boss. My team, we have people who manage, but at the end of the day, it's about my girl. It's about the consumer. It's about what you are presenting to the world. They're your boss. And again, they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. I see these companies and they hire all these focus groups. And I'm like, oh my God, why are you wasting money hiring focus groups? Just go to your neighborhoods and take a survey. I mean, honestly, that is my boss. So when I know something doesn't connect with her, or I feel, or I'm listening to her feedback through social media, which is another thing. Please build your social media. That is such a connection to what's happening out here in the streets. When you are so connected to that, trust that relationship, trust your gut. And every time I've not done that, we have had a big failure.
Wow.
So I appreciate everyone's input, but at the end of the day, the buck stops with me and the buck stops with her who's buying. And I listen to that.
So it seems you don't fall into the paralysis by analysis trap.
Oh, honey, no. And listen, I have people who analyze. My husband thinks everything through 5 ways to Sunday. I mean, gosh, to buy a car, it takes us 6 months. I go on the lot and go, what you got? What's the price? All right, let's go with it. So, I mean, you can't always do that either. I mean, you need, analytics. You need numbers. You need the, what it's about. But at the end of the day, if it's a big decision that I'm responsible for, I got to do it the way I know to do it. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And I envy people like you because I think I'm similar to your husband. It'll take me 6 weeks to find an iPhone case that I feel will protect my phone.
I love that.
Because I just don't want to just buy one. I've got to read all the reviews. And it's like a $30 purchase, yet I will waste all this time and energy to figure out the best iPhone.
Something. Are you cheap and frugal? I mean, let me say frugal. I shouldn't say cheap.
Right. Now you sound like my wife.
Okay.
But I am a little frugal. And
good.
I think it's just because I'm an immigrant, son of immigrants. So it's like, I value every dollar I have.
I love that.
I don't want to second guess anything I ever do because, and I think I told you before we started recording, we just built a house. So now every time something goes wrong, we start to second guess it. And it's like, we all do this, but it's like one of those things where it's like, I don't want to second guess my decision. So I want to spend as much, I prefer to waste time than second guess a decision. But it seems like you're the polar opposite of me, Kim. Kim, you and I could never be a married couple because we would never.
I'm married to a man like you. It actually works. I mean, okay. Yeah. I mean, have we had knockout, drag out fights about stuff? Absolutely. But listen, without people like you, without the nuts and bolts people, that's what I call my husband. He's a nuts and bolts guy. I couldn't be and do what I do. I would be a pie in the sky dreamer who, is always floating away on a hot air balloon. I mean, you've got to have all of it. That's why your team is so important. Like, go look for people who are different than you. If you have a bunch of yes people around you, and if you have a bunch of people just kissing your hind end, that is not good. That is dangerous, actually. That's gotten this country, businesses, and relationships in a lot of trouble.
And speaking of relationships, you've been very open and honest about the stuff you've gone through from your early days to now. And you talk about the importance of authenticity.
Yeah.
Was this something you were born with? This sort of like, there's not a fake bone in your body? No?
No. I was fake as all get out. I've been married once before, all on a lie and a fake persona. And I don't even blame him. I blame me. I was not who I was. He was always who he was. Okay? Leopard don't change his spots, but I didn't present the real me. I was fake. And so, no, the answer to that question is undeniably no. But I will say, I think that's the biggest, I don't think confidence is the biggest thing people deal with. I truly think it is being who you are and being okay with it. In the book, I talk about that everybody's talking about haters and haters and haters. We're our biggest hater, dude. We hate on ourselves more than anybody ever could on social media. And when I came to terms with who I am, good, bad, and ugly, what I've done, all the mistakes I've made, and said, this is it. This is what you get. It was so freeing. And I get emotional talking about it because it was game changing, not only for me personally and being a great mother and trying to, Lord, I'm not a great mother. I'm a terrible mother half the time. They never eat. I'm going through the McDonald's just going, oh God, please just bless these chicken nuggets, have them have some kind of, nutritional value. So I'm a terrible mother in that sense, but being able to model authenticity with my children, with my friends, with my family has probably been the biggest success of my life. And I just want to encourage people. That is the big get, is being able to look in the mirror and go, yeah, I mean, I could have a little nip tuck here. I could lose a few pounds. I probably could be a little bit more successful, but I am who I am. And I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. There's only one of you. There's only one of me. That's huge. When you think about it, I'm not trying to get like kindergarten on you, but I'm just thinking that's massive to understand that. And we just sweep that right on by. We just gloss over that and never take the time to really think about that. But it's big. It's big.
We are our toughest critic. Like we
are.
We beat ourselves. We are our toughest critic, Kim. But I will say, there's nothing worse than reading an online review about yourself. I
don't read those.
You don't. So I was going to ask you that because I've got stuff out there. Like I've got a book out there. I've recorded audiobooks. So every once in a while, I'll be like, let me just see. And then I'll see like a comment from someone who probably just had a really bad day or just didn't like what I did. And it'll make me feel like crap for the rest of the day. So that's why I don't even do that. But so it sounds like you're on that team too. Like you'd rather not read that. So in closing, because you talk about the connection to the audience, but then being able to avoid the negativity, man, that is tough. How do you do that?
Well, it happened to me once. I was on the Steve Harvey show, and Steve Harvey said, "Here's Kim Gravel, the most confident woman I've ever met." And I walked out going, I'm the biggest freaking fraud on the planet. When he said that, that's how I walked out and felt in my head. I'm like, I'm not that confident. And, fast forward a couple of weeks later, I was reading some online comments on Twitter, and this guy said, "This is the most insecure woman I ever met." And when he said that, I normally either would clap back or delete or block. But when he said that, I said 3 words. "You're absolutely right." And from that moment on, him and I had this great conversation. He says he's insecure. I said, we're all insecure. We are all flawed people. All of us, all walks of life, all shapes, all sizes, all races, all of us. We're all flawed people. But that makes us alike, right? If we're all flawed, that's how I look at it. Like when someone is attacking me, I'm like, they're attacking me because they attack themselves. Now, look, you ain't got to like them, but you got to love them. You don't have to do life with them, but you got to listen a little bit and check your own self. And when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, he's absolutely right. So I don't ignore the critics, but I take it and listen. And what can serve me, I keep. And what is just insecurity masked as a negative comment, I let it go.
The name of the book is Collecting Confidence. She is Kim Gravel. Kim, thank you so much for this conversation. It's been a blast.
Thank you.
Good luck on the book tour and everything you got going on. Kim, you really should probably take a break. I think you probably need a vacation at one point. So hopefully once the book tour is done, you can relax because you got a lot going on in your life.
Listen, I'm busy and blessed, so I can't complain. I'll sleep later.
All right. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that wraps up another Forbes Books podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you take a second to subscribe so you automatically get new shows when they drop. Also, if you have a minute, I'd love if you left us a review so more amazing entrepreneurs like yourself can discover the show. This episode was recorded using StreamYard, the easiest way to create content right in your browser. StreamYard's a popular tool amongst live streamers, video creators, YouTubers, and podcasters, with features like live streaming, webinars, local recordings, screen sharing, and more. StreamYard makes it simple to get professional and polished content every time. Get started for free at StreamYard.com. And connect with me on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram at Joe Pardavila. And lastly, please don't forget the golden rule and treat others as you want to be treated. Thanks for listening. Until next time, adios.